What's up, guys? It's your friendly neighborhood Dork, Dork for short here, and it's been a while. Yeah, about 8 months by my count since we last did one of these. Last one we did was the Duskmorn Ambassador video, and I was really hoping that I'd be able to maintain at least some monthly release cycle with a video coinciding with every major set release.
So that was a fucking lie.
But rather than making excuses and or promises I inevitably won't keep, let's ignore that and look towards the future.
Future!
Oh, hey, that's a secret lair now. Fuck, I missed a lot of Prime content. Originally, I was gonna keep myself hidden away in my little hidey hole and keep doing previous season content, if you could call it that, eating Cheetos and chugging Celsius, but I couldn't ignore the call that I was met with this time around. I'm very fortunate where typically my posts will pop off on spoiler season content. However, this one specifically blew up for a different reason. People genuinely thought I believe this card was broken. Now, I won't exactly share who said what, but let's just say, yeesh. This is an obviously clickbaity post made by a magic, quote, creator to generate traffic. Good, bad, etc. I mean, shoot, look at the title of this video. In the wrestling business, we would call this a work. Do I think this card is akin to something like the Power 9 or Nadu? No, but do I think it fundamentally disrupts the format in an unfun way, thus causing behaviors that make the experience absolutely miserable? Yes. So that leads us to today's question. Who is the most broken commander to brew around in the new Final Fantasy set? Could it be that Cloud Strife fella? Or maybe that Sephiroth fella? Full disclosure, I'm not gonna pretend I'm something I'm not and act like I'm some super massive, oh, I've been secretly a massive Final Fantasy fan this whole time! I mean, if that were the case for the sake of content that I've missed these past few months, I could have been the biggest SpongeBob SquarePants fan, or the biggest Deadpool fanatic, or an Aether Drift fanboy. But I mean, let's face the facts, nobody's a fan of Aether Drift, at least willingly. I know little to nothing about this franchise. I know there's a swordsman with pretty hair and a weird big sword thing, and shit, this is just Kingdom Hearts, isn't it? Jokes aside, what I lack in Final Fantasy experience, I make up for in Magic the Gathering, we'll call it experience, and after extensive research and digging, I've determined that the fundamentally most broken Final Fantasy commander is none other than Absolute Virtue is an 8 mana 8/8 for 6 generic, a white and a blue, for a legendary creature, Avatar Warrior. This spell can't be countered because of fucking course not. It's got flying and gives you protection from each of your opponents, so you can't be dealt damage by, enchanted, or targeted by anything controlled by your opponents. Like, okay, look, I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade, but doesn't it seem like that's the whole point of this commander, just to rain on everybody else's parade? From what information I gathered when making this video, Absolute Virtue is regarded as one of the most difficult bosses of all time in its respective games. It basically gives you protection from everything in Magic, and if you want to protect this commander in more ways than one, look no further than our newest affiliate, Ultra Pro. I recently started partnering with them after how much I fell in love with their deck sleeving contests in MagicCon Vegas. Outside of wanting to win that title belt in MagicCon Atlanta, I got to get hands-on and extensive playtesting with their Apex sleeves, and they're absolutely incredible. Literally hundreds of folks were sleeving as fast as possible and putting these things through the ultimate stress tests and showcasing the sheer power of these babies. Plus, their line of Satin Towers have always been super durable, and I especially love the design of some of their alcove flip deck boxes. Plus, if you love Final Fantasy, they have a bunch of playmats and other accessories coming out with the release of the set. And hey, if you want to help this friendly neighborhood dork out, use coupon code DORK for short at checkout, or my affiliate link below helps everybody out. Shop like a pro. Shop Ultra Pro. Anyway, back to the video. Absolute Virtue is an absolute nightmare to play against, as you now have to build your game plan around dealing with this before dealing with the Virtue player. While obviously removal exists in every color, you have to consider how the Virtue deck is brewed, and we can do this by showcasing the current staples from EDHREC. Normally, I'm not particularly fond of exclusively using EDHREC slowly for brewing, but it's an incredible resource to showcase the percentages of cards being used in a given deck. And the numbers don't lie. They spell disaster for you, and your pod at your LGS. Ultimately, the card invokes similar feelings of playstyles akin to cards like Braids or Brawl, who by traditional standards aren't considered broken necessarily, but rather are fundamentally breaking the enjoyment or play patterns of the Commander experience, and are instead of going, hey, everyone, look at me, look at how annoying I can be. Cards designed like these feel like a 4-year-old little brother, annoying for the sake of just being annoying. From the data I compiled with EDHREC, I brewed 2 lists on my Mox field. With resources like Mox Field and Spell Table, virtually any card is accessible. Additionally, there was a budget option that could be easily, if not more so, annoying. Are the decks good? No, they're not. They're intentionally brewed like this just to showcase how non-fun and boring this type of behavior is. And the unfortunate part is, it's seemingly very difficult to brew Absolute Virtue or the cards I mentioned without being annoying or being perceived as the threat as soon as this card comes out of the deck box. Some cards have that luxury of, although seemingly being these scary boogeymen looming in the shadows, are instead potentially super fun and creative assets. For example, with the recent Commander unbannings, I really liked the insight that one of the members of the Commander Rules Committee, Benjamin Wheeler, had provided about cards such as Panoptic Mirror and how typically it's the behaviors that define the cards, not necessarily the cards themselves.
This is a really fun card when you are not a jerk. And even sometimes if you are a jerk, if you're a very specific type of jerk, it's a fun card. Like, yeah, putting bribery on this card is kind of cool. Like, it doesn't, end the game. It draws a lot of attention towards yourself, but you can have, like, there's so much of a conversation to have with Panoptic Mirror, even if you are a bit of a jerk.
Absolute Virtue falls into this category of commanders that fundamentally shift the games and behaviors to target the player piloting it, which doesn't necessarily sound the most fun. Or does it? If the intention of the card design was to make it feel like a final boss encounter, why not turn it into one? Archenemy, anyone? I'm not necessarily saying to force your friends with annoying decks into running Archenemy every time, but if you're seeing similarities in their playstyle or behavior at the table, maybe provide an alternative. It beats the usual alternative of course, crashing out and getting frustrated, and could potentially lead to a lot of fun. In short, does Absolute Virtue fundamentally break any formats? Absolutely not. But it is a daunting showcase of how annoying the game can be at times, and why it's important to not feed into the temptations of aggravation. Brew something for the sake of fun. Even if it's not just for you, maybe for those around you. Who knows? You might just enjoy it. Maybe it's not such a fantasy after all. As per usual, if you enjoyed this style of content, feel free to hit that like button. Let me know what y'all think the most broken Final Fantasy commander is, or maybe some of the most annoying commanders in Magic's history. I'm hoping to make more of these longer form videos more frequently, but in case I take another long hiatus, you can always find me on X, Blue Sky, Twitch, and TikTok. As always, I've been your friendly neighborhood dork, Dork for short. Take it easy.